Hello, welcome everyone to our episode number 8. Today it's everything about Microsoft Defender experts for hunting. I have, of course, an expert with me again. Today I have Steve with me. Steve, please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Steve Newby. I'm a product manager within Defender for Endpoint, but we cover the whole of the M365 stack. I've been with Microsoft about 10 years and working this team for around 3.
Thank you for joining me today, Steve. Before we get started and dive deeper into this topic, I want to remind everyone that you have a Q&A button up there where you can ask your questions throughout the show, and we have our experts in the background that will answer your questions. Please keep your questions to the topic. We have other sessions and other episodes where we dive deeper into other topics. So again, today it's all about Defender experts for hunting, a newly announced service. Also, here's a link to the announcement that we made where you can learn more about it after the show. So, Steve, let's dive in. So we made a big announcement, super excited about it. Tell us in a quick summary before we dive into the individual capabilities, what is Defender Experts for Hunting?
So Microsoft Defender Experts for Hunting is an evolution of a service that we had previously called Microsoft Threat Experts. And Microsoft Threat Experts was really targeted at the Defender for Endpoint and the specific alerting and capabilities within that. Now with Microsoft Defender Experts for Hunting, what we have is a service that spans the entire M365 stack. So across this M365 stack, we provide services for proactive hunting within that to help your SOC analysts who might not necessarily have the time or even the awareness of some of the things that are going on within your environment, to help them, to take the load off them, and then provide the capabilities to put alerts into your tenant directly, and also be a sounding board. If your SOC analysts need help to understand a particular incident or alert, or even a campaign that's going on in the wild right now, is someone that they can reach out to get that particular knowledge from.
Okay, so before we dive into each of these, so I think let's summarize. So it's a managed threat hunting service. It provides what we call targeted attack notifications. It comes with what we call experts on demand, which is what you just described, where people can then ask or like reach out to our experts and ask those questions. And then we have also a report back to the people, to the customer, for what was hunted for and what was found and all these things, right? So those are basically the capabilities and services that come with the service. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So the targeted attack notifications is something basically anyone using Defender M365 today, they can get access to targeted attack notifications. So assuming you've got a tenant with over 1,000 seats onboarded, you can just go into your tenant and turn on that expert's capability, which will give you targeted attack notifications. The Experts on Demand is an additional service, and that's really giving you the capability to interact one-on-one with a security specialist. And all of these security specialists, they're looking at the data, they're providing insights into that data, and we leverage some of those insights to then feed back into our machine learning, into the analytics we do as a whole, and that benefits the wider population using M365 as well. And the reporting you mentioned will give you details about what was hunted, how many detections there were, any security recommendations that are a result of those hunting elements. And that report can then be used on a regular basis within your execs to show what was found and what was done about it. So it's a great way to sort of visualize all of the actions that the experts are taking on behalf of your tenant.
So basically, the experts will in this report provide the customer with recommendations on how to resolve that issue,
Yeah,
the
so
threat.
as part of the alerts that you see in that come in, and we will show some of the alerts in a minute. Both the instance and alerts, they will have security recommendations. So those security recommendations come as a result of what the experts are looking at, what they found within the environments. Those security recommendations help you then make changes within your environment. Now, those changes might be updating your AV engine. They might be turning on some of the more advanced capabilities like attack surface reduction. There may be just simply a case of setting an indicator to block a file, but these security recommendations are as a result of the hunting that's taking place, and they will then feed into the environment, so you can uh, understand what needs to be done in order to get a more secure posture.
Hmm. So when it comes to security, Steve, there's always, of course, a privacy concern and what data is being shared with like external to the customer. So how are our experts for hunting, defender experts for hunting, getting access to the tenant, or like what kind of data they're looking at?
So when you sign up for the targeted notifications, there are terms and conditions, and what that means is that those experts are getting access to the data, but they are getting pseudo anonymized access. And what that means is they don't get details about the organization name, they don't get PII information, they don't see machine names. So the way they're hunting is basically they're looking at like encoded machine names, encoded names, so they don't see anything. And generally speaking, those experts have no ability to trace back which organization they're working with. The difference there slightly though is when you're using experts on demand. Obviously, when you're querying from an experts on demand, you are sending the experts your email address and your tenant information. So at that point, they do know which organization they're doing hunting against. But generally speaking, the data is still kept pseudo anonymized. So you shouldn't be concerned about any of the PII information going to Microsoft for our visibility.
But it's also not, if you reach out to the experts on demand and you ask a question, I think usually you share, I don't know if it's the same case, but a screenshot or some details about a specific entity that you have questions about, that now they're going and hunt on your visible tenant. It's like they're like you have a conversation around a specific request and they still don't, as you said, like see machine names, PII, any other info. They know your email because you reached out to them, right?
Yes. Yeah.
um, and we can't obfuscate that and then send something back. But for the rest, it's all, we respect privacy. This is super important for us, and we want everyone to know that this is how Microsoft operates all their security services, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the only exception there is like if the customer is engaged with an experts on demand specialist and they're working through a case. Now the customer may choose to email some additional information across to that expert for them to look at, but that's purely on the basis of the customer making that decision. It's nothing that the expert can forcibly extract.
So, and you mentioned before, of course, it's an evolution of what we used to have in just Defender for Endpoint. It goes now across Microsoft 365 Defender. So now they're not just looking at endpoint related threats, it goes to identities and emails, and they make sure your entire stake of the Defender products is being overwatched, right?
Yeah, I mean, some of the interesting things that we can look at there are things like identity compromise. So where a customer might be using Azure identity protection or Microsoft Defender for identity, then that's something that we can look at. We can understand whether that identity has been compromised, any sort of brute force attacks that may have taken place, something that the tool sets themselves may have missed, or that your SOC analyst may have missed. Things like cloud application breaches. So OAuth apps Again, looking at the Microsoft Defender for Cloud apps, where those OAuth apps and the shadow IT is taking place, again, that may expose a breach within the organization, which is something that the Defender experts can look at and provide guidance around, as well as putting alerts into those environments.
Thank you so much, Steve. So, Steve, talking about them, what targeted attack notification and raising additional alerts to tenants. So, why is it not already in our, let's say, EDR capabilities? Like, what are they using to find something that the EDR might have not picked up?
So what they're doing is they're looking at the data that's taking place through forms of advanced hunting. So they're doing advanced hunting on the tenants. They're looking for certain indicators, and also what you may find is that there are new campaigns all the time. So we see new threat actors, we see new campaigns taking place, and some of that intelligence might not get straight into the EDR component directly. Certainly not straight away. So, but these threat hunters, as soon as they pick something up, they have the ability to hunt straight away, and they can look for certain scenarios as well. Because the other aspect is when you're looking at the different elements, when you've got the different workloads, the MDI, the Office 365, and the MDE all working together. Now, M365 does a fantastic job of correlating that data, providing attack scenarios across all that data. But sometimes there are different things that are happening that might seem
Legit?
yeah, exactly. They might seem legit on a certain workload, but then the hunters are starting to correlate that with some of the other legit stuff that's happening on other workloads, and they are actually, when you put these together, it's not so legit, and actually it's something we want to look into in a bit more detail, and that's when they start creating alerts. Within the M365, you have incidents. Now, incidents in M365 are a collection of alerts that might have something linking them. So they might be there's a common file or a particular bit of malware, or there's registries have been touched on multiple machines. What the threat experts can do is they can also take an existing incident and add alerts into it. So they're actually saying, well, this incident's taken place. I'm going to do some additional hunting around this incident to see if there are other things related to that they can then add into that incident. And that's the
So
sort of data that
basically,
then gets correlated back into our machine learning to help for a better experience across the whole of the M365 stack.
So basically, also what a security analyst at a company does, right? Like looking at more data than just the alerts and incidents that are populated,
Yeah.
using their own techniques, as well as I understood that a while back, it's basically sometimes we have IOAs that are not yet ready for prime time and just like for a broader distribution. But if they're overwatched with a human or AI, trained AI, they can find new things, and then we tune them to put them out for everyone, and then it will be automated in our
Yeah.
EDR, right?
Exactly. And I mean, as you know, Heike, we have the automated incident response within our EDR, which is a great tool, and it's designed to reduce the overhead for mundane tasks for the SOC analysts. I mean, you can almost think of like the target attack notifications as one step further from that. They're actually sort of providing an additional level of feedback back into those SOC analysts. We're not trying to replace them, but we're actually trying to help them do their job and actually provide additional information so that they can get a better understanding of any campaigns that are taking place, any active attacks or malware that's been seen. And yes, as you say, there are new IOAs all the time. There's literally thousands of new IOAs that are on an almost daily basis. And yes, we feed them into our machine learning, but you've also got our threat hunters who can take all that. And we've got a really good team of threat hunters across the world who can, and they all talk to each other as well. So they're all sharing ideas, they're providing intelligence to each other as well as hunting directly onto tenants.
Okay, Steve. So now that we talked about the individual capabilities that are part of that service, let's have a look at how customers actually see targeted attack notifications, how they can reach out to experts. Like, let's do a little demo.
Yep. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is how you enable target attack notifications. And as I mentioned, target attack notifications are available for any organization that's got more than 1,000 seats. So you can just go in, turn this on, and that will then give you the ability to receive those target attack notifications from our threat hunters. So if I go into under my M365 portal, if I go into settings, then endpoints, and go to advanced features, this is where I turn on the different advanced features within within M365. So, and if we just scroll down here, sorry, I must have missed it. Yeah, here we go. So this is the switch. So we turn this switch on. And what happens then is that once that switch is turned on, that then gets assessed by our team at the who are running Defender Experts for Hunting, and they will say, "Well, is this organisation over 1,000 seats? If so, then yes, they will start enabling target attack notifications, and that happens within a sort of 24-hour window. So you'll start to see target TANs or target attack notifications coming into your environment, assuming there is stuff to see in there. If you may have a really clean environment, you may not see anything for a while.
Okay, Steve. So when I understand this correctly, I'm trying to get all these pieces together. So you can turn on targeted attack notification if you have more than 1,000 endpoints. But with the newly announced service, which is a separate SKU that people can purchase, which is currently, as of June 22, in preview, then it's for anyone who actually wants to sign up for it. Is that correct? Oh,
Exactly. So if you've signed up for that Defender Experts for Hunting service, then that applies to your tenant. And you will get the targeted notifications, you'll get the experts on demand function capability. So all of that is available to you, and there's not the limit on the 1,000 seats.
okay, and the one feature capability that is part of Defender Experts for Hunting, the targeted attack notification, is something people can still select if they have Defender for Endpoint license and are okay.
Yes.
Perfect, good. Now I got it. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. So
Yeah,
let's
and
now
and
you
just
turn
just to
it
just
on.
to add to that, like Defender Experts for Hunting doesn't require you to have Defender for Endpoint. So you just need one of the workloads from M365 in order to be able to purchase that Defender Experts Hunting service.
That's an important addition. Thank you. Okay, so now that we turned it on, let's go
Yeah.
and have a look.
Bear in mind what we've got here is a demo tenant, so let me just clear that off. Most of what we see here has been artificially injected into the tenant. Now, you'll see here I've got lots and lots of different instance and alerts here. So the thing you can do here is you can actually start to filter based upon the service sources. So under Defender for Endpoint, I've got Microsoft Defender Experts, but I've also got it under M365 Defender. So I can select both of those. And then when I apply that, that actually gives me all of the instance where Defender Experts for Hunting have actually either created that incident or they've added alerts into an instance. So just to sort of pick on one here, I've got this attempt to exploit a particular vulnerability. Now I can see here I've got all of my active alerts here. I've got my instant graph, which is something that was relatively new within the portal.
And I see that little black thingy that tells me there was a Defender Experts in that thing.
This one here.
Yes.
Yes. So the Defender Expert. And the other thing to bear in mind is we also got actor here. So Defender Experts, yes, it's tagged with Defender Experts, but the Defender Experts have also tagged this particular instance with an actor. So a threat actor as part of what it is they're doing. And you can see here we've got our instant, and as we scroll down, what you'll see is we've actually this is an example where the Defender experts for hunting have actually linked alerts into an instant. And I'll show the alert queue in a minute, but we can see here that's been added in. And there's a particular, we're referencing a MITRE tactic there as well. You can see also, as well as linking stuff in, they can also unlink alerts.
Okay, so there was an incident created by Microsoft 365 Defender.
Mm-hmm.
The experts for hunting, they looked on over that incident. They found additional evidence that needed to be part of it, which is either created another alert, brought in some other alerts that they found, and then tag that after reviewing it as like, okay, that's a threat actor.
Yeah, so they put a threat actor against it, and as we look into the alerts as well, you can see here these alerts here, these top ones were all alerts that were generated by Defender for Endpoint. I mean, actually, they're all endpoint alerts, but then you've got some specific alerts that are Defender for Experts. And you can see here, there's Timothy, and is a threat actor which has been tagged against this as well. So you can see here, there's an alert that's been put in by the Defender experts with a particular tag against it. And again, like I say, this is demo data, so you're seeing these tests coming in. But what it is showing is the fact that there are different categories assigned as well. So Defender experts will categorize stuff as they put it in. And you can see the different service sources here. So whether it's M365 Defender or Endpoint itself. So all of this is information that the Defender experts put in. And when you look at the reporting for this, and Heike, you mentioned the reporting earlier on. When the reporting comes in, you will see the amount of data that's gone in. So the classification that's taken place, the proactive information that's been put into an instant as a result of that Defender expert. Now,
I just want to also clarify, luckily we don't have a demo tenant that is targeted and has like real targeted attack notification alerts. So that's why we see all
yes,
these tests showing up here. So yeah,
yeah.
good for us. Yeah.
So now I can go into, let's just pick this alert, for example. So I can go into this alert. It provides information. You'll see here, we've got this Defender experts tag against the alert. So it's saying that there was something that happened, and it's your typical alert story, but it's showing that this is a Defender experts alert that's taken place. And again, you've got information about the MITRE technique. So the experts will have put information in there. And then you can see that it's information that the threat experts have put in where they've actually done the linking. So the linking of this alert to the incident is not through anything such as like within the same time span or particular file. The linking is purely based upon the Defender experts. Now, this is targeted attack notifications, and as a customer, you might look at all of this and see, oh, this is really interesting, but actually, I don't really. There's some stuff that I don't understand here. And actually, if we look further down, you'll see we've got an error loading the actor information. Now that's really because of our demo environment, the way we've populated it. But as a customer, if you were saying, well, I don't know who that actor is, well, what can they do? Are there other instances of this within my environment? That's an opportunity to use the experts on demand. And through this, we can say, ask Defender experts. So when I ask Defender experts, it pops up a window for me. And within that window, I have the opportunity to add additional information. It gives me this link. So this link, it gives the expert details around the alert itself, so they can drill into that when they do their hunting. I can put some information in around this. So I would like to know more information about the actor. So that then gives them that information, and here is where I put my email address. And as we said at the beginning, when it comes to privacy, that's really where the threat expert engaged will learn who the organization is that they're dealing with because of the email address. So once I submit that, so I'll submit that. Hopefully our threat experts are going to look at that and go, oh, it's just a test alert, rather than actually replying with some further information. I don't want to waste their time. But then what they will do is they will then contact me via email, and we can have a further conversation around that, around the, they'll provide some information around that threat actor. And I have the opportunity to sort of ask further information around that. So it's classed as sort of one engagement with the experts on demand, but I can sort of expand on that. I can ask additional information about the threat actor. I can also ask things like, is there any evidence this threat actor elsewhere within my environment? Or when was this threat actor first seen within my environment? So these are things that would help the SOC team understand what's going on. And it's something that our threat experts can do the analytics around and provide information for.
Talking about threat actors, so the error, I want to go back to that. The error is there because I don't know what it was, Timothy or something is just a fake threat actor. It doesn't really exist.
That's it exactly, Heike.
Okay.
Yeah. So Timothy is a fake actor who doesn't exist. That's why it's showing the error. Now, I'd love to be able to show you like real information, but what you'd probably see there is if we had information around the threat actor, there would be a bit of information there, and also you'd be able to look into our threat analytics reports and find information there about the threat actors. So obviously within the threat analytics reports, you see information around active campaigns. Now, obviously, when we're looking at the information that the threat experts are digging out, so the hunting that takes place, the identification of threat actors, so this information is very valuable for those targeted act notifications, but it's also used within our threat analytics reports. For those of you that are familiar with it, the threat analytics reports have been around for a while. They provide information around active campaigns that we see out in the wild, and they provide information around specific threat actors and what it is they're doing. So this is the threat analytics homepage here. And if I just scroll down here and I'll pick Black Cat in line with our Ninja Cat, and we've got a Black Cat ransomware that's taking place here. And this is this particular type of ransomware, but you'll also see that the security researchers observed this threat actor. So this threat actor is known for deploying different types of attacks. And this is different payloads that take place. And this information may have come from threat experts, but it is the sort of thing that they can actively contribute into. This obviously, you see here an overview, you see whether it's an impact in your environment, and we can see there's a full analyst report that gets produced around this. So giving you information around summary, giving you information around the way an attack took place, how the breach occurred, the initial exploit, and the impact as we get to the end of that. And this is great because it really helps you understand what process an actor did in terms of getting into your environment, what sort of data they wanted to exfiltrate, and what they then did as a next jump point. The type of information here is also the type of information you can get from your experts on demand. So you can sort of query them, and they will provide, not necessarily to this detail, but they can provide a lot of information around the threat actor, how they got into your environment, what they've done in your environment, when they were first seen, when they were last seen, and the impact that they've had. So that's really one of the great benefits of experts on demand.
Yeah. So, and of course, it's a big research team and all working together hand in hand to produce those analyst reports, providing those deep, rich insights. How, as you said, like a quick summary, but then also diving deeper, as well as giving you an understanding of how that threat actor is progressing, or like using those techniques. And then I always love threat analytics because it gives you a threat to posture view. So if you are targeted, it shows you exactly the devices impacted, what alerts are related, as well as what should you do, what are the mitigations that you should take in place.
One thing I did actually want to sort of highlight here is the difference between the Microsoft Experts and what you would get from a standard Microsoft Premier Support contract. So within the Microsoft Premier Support contract, you have the ability to actually, you can call CSS, you can raise concerns around threats in your organization, and they'll do their best to assist you. CSS also have the ability to bring in Dart to do like a full instant response within an organization. What they can't do is give you information specifically around your tenant. The CSS guys cannot go into the tenant. They can't do hunting within the tenant. They can't provide information around the extent of a breach within your tenant. They just don't have that access. They also can't give you sort of recommended actions around what may have occurred before or after that as well. So there's a very sort of clear point around there. CSS can absolutely help you at security level, but Experts on Demand takes it one step further by being able to deal directly with your data and hunt directly into that and provide guidance around what threat actors are doing within your organization.
And they would also bring in Dart for an incident response if needed. So there is, of course, it's a loop. And
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. Experts on Demand can bring in Dart, and actually, when Experts on Demand are bringing in Dart, what they'll do is they will, all of the information that they've been able to hunt around, all of the target attack notifications, they'll provide that to Dart. So Dart are almost starting a step up from where they would normally do because it's come from an Experts on Demand case.
wow. So thank you so much, Steve. So I think the big thing here is really for Defender for Endpoint. We had that service already for a while. It was now an expansion to Microsoft 365 Defender. It's, as of now, June 22 in preview, which means you can sign up for it, you can test it out. The link that we shared earlier, we can share it again, where you can actually learn more and also sign up for the preview. And yeah, once we will make this available, of course, you will hear from us again. And stay tuned. There will probably come more because our services keep evolving over time. Steve, I think we covered a lot. So we looked into what is Defender Experts for hunting, what are all the capabilities, how is this working? We talked about privacy. We looked into the alerts and how they enrich incidents, how you can reach to experts on demand. And you can't just reach out to them if you have an alert. So there is, throughout the portal, there is a lot of options to actually click and then reach out to them. Um, we looked into threat analytics and how their work feed back into also customers who didn't sign up for that service but use threat analytics because, again, it's a big research team and some are part of the experts and some do just the threat analytics. So what else do we have? Did we miss anything, Steve?
I think we've covered it really well. I think what I would advise people, just turn on the threat expert service within your tenant. Get those targeted attack notifications coming in because it will help you. You will get benefit from that straight away. And also, when those target attack notifications are coming in, it's really something you want to pay attention to because they're not being injected into your environment just as general noise. They are when we've specifically found something. So pay attention to them when you do see them in your environment.
Steve, thank you so much for walking us through it.
Thanks, Phil.
And thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for being part of our community. Don't forget to go to aka.ms/ninja show. Download some of our bonus content. We have backgrounds, we have some nice videos that you can use in your own presentations or even videos. And don't forget to sign up for our next episode, which is all about reporting. So again, thanks everyone, and see you soon.